There's a duality to the nature of democracy, incredibly strong and incredibly fragile.
We need to preserve our democracy. In 2024, we need you to vote.
Okay, a little ironic maybe, since he's the guy who got thrown out by his own party like a month and a breath ago. He was tossed out like a cheap rug. The Democrats are ruthless, though. They'll do anything if it means they have a real shot at winning.
Sometimes you just have to take a punch for the children.
And that's what you're doing right now? You're just going to take the punch for the children?
Who's punching right now?
I don't know.
Nobody wants to have a fight with Nancy Pelosi at this time.
Well, you know what?
Have you talked to him? Is my only question.
What I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country.
You know what we call her? Nancy the Gavel Pelosi. Okay, don't mess with Nancy. Well, Biden revealed last night that the two have grown a bit distant over the past month. Shocking, since before he officially dropped out of the race. Joining me now is Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips, former 2024 Democratic candidate for president. Congressman, you primaried Biden, and the Democrats tried to shut you out. Now they're the party of saving democracy. Why didn't they give democracy a shot when you were concerned?
Well, I'll tell you, Laura, that was my mission. And by the way, this is universal. I wouldn't say one party is exceptional at the practice of democracy right now, and I believe in competition. I was terribly disappointed that my party shut it down. I think we shouldn't be suppressing debate. We shouldn't be canceling people. We should be having more of it. And that's my mission right now. Was I disappointed? Yeah. But am I pleased with the outcome? I actually really am. Not pleased that we didn't have a thoughtful competition, but pleased that the man who I respect but was not going to win was kind enough, thoughtful enough, and had enough courage to actually hand power over, which is not a common
thought. You think he really wrote that letter? Do you think he wrote that resignation letter?
No, I don't think he wrote that letter.
Who wrote it for him?
No, I think he probably had help, which is what all presidents have help. But look, I want to celebrate. It's really rare in human history, let alone American history, where those in power electively hand it over.
It's not electively, but Nancy the Gavel Pelosi told him, and you know it. You're very smart.
Of course.
She said, "Here's how it's going to go down, Joe. Mr. President, you're either going to get out or we're going to get you out. You got 24 hours."
It just goes to show that Nancy Pelosi had a little bit of a more heavy gavel than this guy did.
All right, Congressman, Tim Kaine said today that Biden made his decision to drop out based on bad poll numbers, but then Joe Biden on the tarmac last night said this.
If you go back and look at the numbers, we weren't that far behind. It was like we talked about how we were getting blown out. That's not what we saw. But what would have happened, though, if the discussion had been, was I going to cost seats for Democrats, that would have been the whole subject matter.
Yeah, well, that's true. And Kaine said his comments about Biden getting out because of the numbers after that. But, I mean, Biden didn't want to get out. He was forced out. So this rewriting of the narrative so you can stand up here tonight and talk about how we're going to save democracy from Donald Trump. Did Donald Trump leave office on January 20th, 2021 or not?
He ultimately did. Of course he did.
So do you buy the democracy? Do you think that democracy will end if Joe Biden's successor, Kamala Harris, does not win?
I do not believe democracy will end. Do I have grave concerns about Donald Trump's character? Yes, I do. I'm not going to lie about that. Do I have that same grave concern about my Republican colleagues? I don't. But here's what my biggest concern is. It is a unique disease, I think, across the board in American politics, where we have too many people willing to be silent, too many people focused on self-preservation instead of principle, and too many people willing to be quiet and walk the company line simply to ascend that ladder.
Right, but they quieted you down.
And they did it. Look, at my side did it. And frankly, Laura, most of my Republican colleagues excoriated Donald Trump privately in the halls of Congress.
Yeah, but who did Donald Trump? Where was the effort to silence his opponents?
Where was the effort?
Republican opponents. He didn't make any effort.
I'm not throwing stones at that. I'm just all I'm saying is that no, I don't think democracy is in peril. I think Donald Trump lacks character. That is true. And I think
we've never had presidents before, including some of the best presidents, who had any character issues, Congressman.
Look, I think it's fair to say that, well, every human being has character. Every human being has character issues. But Laura, what I want to, look, I know most people watching right now probably adore President Trump. I spent time with him in the White House. I saw both sides.
Oh, you totally.
The side that so many find distasteful, and also the side that so many find charming.
When Kamala says Gen Zers are dumb, is that good character? When she said they're stupid,
well,
when all the newspaper articles came out and said her staff hated her and they all quit because she was a nightmare to work for, I mean, is that all roses and sunshine for Kamala
Well,
Harris? I don't think so.
There is no roses and sunshine in American politics.
Well,
and
here it is.
Well, let me
right?
just say, though, that I would say we have an angertainment industry that would have us believe we are so utterly divided that it's irretrievable, and that is not true. And I will tell you, I've said it before, I went to a Donald Trump rally when I was campaigning in New Hampshire back in the winter of 23,
Yeah.
and I was met with handshakes and friendship and hospitality and decency.
Yeah,
I
because
told
you should be a Republican.
I should be a Republican.
Yeah, because
Hey,
that's why you're like
my-
you're basically a Republican. I'm recruiting a lot of people tonight into the Republican.
I did not know this would be a recruitment hour, but my point is to everybody watching, all of us, give each other a chance. We're all decent people. Most of us are decent people. If you
Yeah.
give each other a chance, and I want to see more debate and more policy conversation.
Yeah, well, we're not seeing a lot of that here.
well,
Do you
these
think
are-
she's going to win?
I'll tell you, a month ago, I would have said, well, first of all, when Joe Biden was running, it was so clear. The polls
All right,
were
but do you
awful.
think she's going to win?
I thought it would be closer a week ago,
Axelrod's
but
word.
right now, Laura, right now, based on what I'm feeling, sensing, both in my district, in this room, around the country, I think the tables are turning. It's going to be a cutthroat, down to the wire race, but I would bet now, after having bet that Trump would win this entire year, I think that she is going to win, primarily because she selected a guy who I think can finally speak
Oh, God.
to
Oh,
voters
my God.
in the part of the country.
You just took my breath away. Okay. All right, Congressman, to be continued. It's great to have you on the show.
Anytime, Laura.
And Minnesota is near and dear to my heart. So
Right back at you.
Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.